everyone. This is Luca Majno here again with Frank Gregory Ford. This is another episode of Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon Project, where we give you complete backstage and up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. And Greg has another mouthful today, I'm sure. How you doing, Greg?
I'm in fine form. I'm ready to go. So let's get that snapshot out there.
Well, and good day to all of you. And we can't thank you enough for listening either, or for watching. It's fantastic. Okay, so you want to do a snapshot. All right, let's get into this. First of all, I have to share screens with you, Greg. And I'd like to start by looking at different type of clouds that signify what they call chemtrails. And they're definitely not normal. And when people start to look up, this is what they see. And it's weather warfare is what it is. Weather manipulation in the highest degree. And when you look at the radar, you see things that you've never seen before. Like this one, blotches of clouds, totally abnormal, as we can see. And the chemtrails that are laden with pollutants, heavy metals, etc., just dumping out of airplanes over and over again all day long. Here's what the climate change looks like. It's called HAARP, and the weather is being manipulated. And this is stuff that I really urge people to get into, because it's turned out to be a worldwide event. They can do anything they want with the weather now, from Alaska all the way to Japan. So it's really something to be aware of. And I wanted to start Snapshot today with that, so that people can understand what manipulation really is. Here's another manipulator in a different form. The 28th richest person in the world, using his billions to impose the radical agenda on America and influence our election, as if we didn't know, right? The main obstacle to a stable and just world is the United States of America. I mean, he says it himself. Wanted for planned terrorist genocide. A sadistic terrorist group known as the New World Order planned to murder 7 billion people. The terrorists have written their plan out right in front of us in plain sight, on stones in many languages. It's called the Georgia Guidestones. You might want to check that out too. Something really interesting. This is what they say about the World Trade Center bombing in 1993. And you got to pay attention to this one. In New York City, a truck bomb parked below the North Tower of the World Trade Center explodes, killing 6 and injuring 1,042 people. The 1,500-pound urea nitrate hydrogen gas-enhanced device was intended to knock the North Tower into the South Tower, bringing both towers down and killing thousands of people. Well, one person named Ramzi Youssef, apparently the mastermind behind the bombing attack, was convicted in November 1997, right? Oops. The FBI foils an FBI terror plot. And that's exactly what it was. You know why? Because something very interesting. While the FBI is the federal agency that is supposed to protect the U.S. from crimes of terrorism and to investigate such crimes when they occur, in reality, the FBI plays a completely different role. For the last 2 decades, I'm told, the FBI has actually been involved in creating and causing crimes of fake terrorism. In the early 1990s, for example, giving the towers for an example, right? It was revealed that the FBI was deeply involved in the first false flag bombing of the World Trade Center in February 1993. This bombing was evidently an FBI/Mossad operation that was meant to be interpreted as an act of Muslim terrorism in order to prime the pump of public opinion and impress upon the American public the false notion that Arab terrorists were seeking to destroy the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, which was not the case at all. Okay, so this is what the FBI does. You know, we're talking about the CIA, Greg. Every single show we do, we talk about the CIA or the Bush crime family. We don't talk about the FBI too much, but as the Latin phrase says right here, and I love bringing this up every now and then, the one who derives advantage from the crime is the one most likely to have committed it. And this is what they do. This is what they do against us every day.
You're absolutely right, Luca. And by the way, I want to make sure that I don't wear out our audience base telling them about the FBI. Because if you remember that I debriefed for almost a month straight, myself and another intelligence agent, when we came back to the United States on the up-and-coming scandal and disaster of Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq and the subsequent copper green program that was going globally. It is now up to 157 countries that the FBI is supporting. What that means is something like this, is all the way around the world, 157 countries are now utilizing terror and torture to maintain control in their governments. Murder, mayhem, you name it, it can all be had for a price.
Right.
And I was informed of that program, Copper Green, when I was in Iraq, and I was told that yes, the powers that be were convinced that it was going to save the United States because it was getting a complete intelligence download on all the troublemakers of the world that were giving, even these governments like Kim Jong-un, Assad, Muammar Gaddafi, giving them all access to getting rid of their troublemakers.
Right.
For the simple, well, of course, there's a fee involved. That's the American way. There's always a fee. But the thing is, in this case, it was to give the U.S. access, the rich 1% access to all the natural resources of these countries, to include human labor. That is a resource, by the way.
Right.
All right. And it is alive and well. Don't think it isn't, folks. Okay. Now, when I was looking at that, you were talking about the terrorists and the whole plot and thing, everything with 9/11, the World Trade Center. What I would like to understand, and I just saw this tonight, somebody brought it up, is what is going on. Now, back then, the Ramzi Youssef, and the blind sheikh were supposedly under surveillance. The group had been penetrated by an FBI agent, and they didn't stop the bombing. Okay, now, like I'm sure our listeners know, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but something's really wrong here, because the fellow that shot up the Orlando gay nightclub, well, he was under surveillance for 10 months by the FBI. The fellow that just ran over a bunch of people in New York, he was under surveillance by the FBI. Now, I was given a briefing by Able Danger, which was largely wiped out in the Pentagon attack. 80% of its personnel were wiped out, by the way. Funny how that works, and that was by Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer. So obviously the 19 hijackers, it turns out, were all operatives. And now yesterday I found out that the planes that were flown into the World Trade Center, they flew in with crosshairs on a certain area of the World Trade Center. Anybody care to look at those control pods that were underneath each plane? Funny thing is, no one's been able to say where those control pods were added to the planes. So I'm very familiar with L3. That's the Israeli controlled murderously corrupt group, okay, that loves to do Middle East hijackings. They love to have ship crews murdered, abducted, and murdered. Everybody thinks that pirates are somewhere in the Middle East abducting people and murdering them, sailors and so forth. No, it's L3, folks. Okay, it's L3. I got that from one of our U.S. Navy intelligence officers who said he couldn't believe it. They escorted an Iraqi oil freighter, okay, tanker into port. The crew was taken off. The crew was executed by the Kuwaiti government. They were Filipinos, by the way, the crew members. And then 2 days later, they were returning to port. And here's the same ship leaving port with a crew of 5 L3 operatives, and the crew and the ship had been fully automated. Okay, there's something really going wrong. Okay, I mean, when you look at the FBI, for how long was it? For almost 50 years, they had a cross-dresser, okay, in charge. All right, you know, everybody knows who that is. Let's not kid anybody. All right, and they ran a pretty tight ship. Okay, as long as we're talking about ships, you know, the Lusitania, the Liberty, okay, the Maddox. I mean, it goes on and on. Pearl Harbor. Oh, Pearl Harbor. Boy, that comes up again. Well, folks, okay, I'd like to talk about this more, but I have something, and this is for Democrats. If you're a Republican listening to the show, do yourself a favor. Go get a Coke or something, okay? I've got something for all the Democrats, and you are going to be shocked, horrified to find out how your own Democratic Party has been thoroughly sold, bought out, compromised by that lying, thieving, murderous sociopath. And I say murderous too. Okay, what is it? Every day now there's a report of somebody being murdered. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Okay, let's not play games. Hillary Clinton. Now, folks, remember here, this is really important. Okay, I want everybody to turn up the volume, and I expect some calls to come in. Okay, Luca, you ready for some calls on this one?
I sure am.
You know what I'm going to say. Okay, remember, folks, when Hillary Clinton refused to allow the public to find out what she told the Wall Street bankers. Okay, this is before she decided to really run. Okay, this is when she was seeking the nomination of her party. Okay,
right. And Greg, I may as well throw this in too. In the speeches that she made to Wall Street bankers, she made more money than the average person in the United States will make in their entire life.
Absolutely. But the interesting thing is, have you ever heard a word what was in those speeches? Has anybody listening to this show ever heard one word from those speeches? Well, here's why, folks. Okay. And it does take somebody with a little intelligence background to figure it out. And like I say, I'm a little slower than most, but I can even figure this one out. Okay. Here, listen. Okay. Everybody leaning forward. Okay. Hillary Clinton told all the big bankers on Wall Street that the Democratic Party was $28 million in the red. That means they owe somebody $28 million. They didn't have any foreseeable income. And does everybody know who Susan Lindauer is now? Susan Lindauer, okay. She's a good friend and associate of mine. She informed me that as soon as she got out of prison, we're trying to warn people, this to the CIA put her in prison, we're trying to warn people about the attack on 9/11, since she was the CIA's representative to Iraq and Libya. Okay, you can go watch her show. Don't believe me? Watch her show. That's our motto, right, Luca? And the $2.3 trillion that disappeared the day before, according to that mountain of integrity, Donald Rumsfeld, it disappeared the day before. Next thing you know, there is an attack okay, on the United States. And the day after 9/11, not one word was ever heard again about the 2.3 trillion. Well, Susan Lindauer, being the genius she is, the tough person she is, who doesn't believe a word that the CIA says, that our government says, has been able to locate. She had been able to locate that money, okay? And she's doing it and she's recovering it. But guess who showed up with their hands out, okay, with their hand out, okay, for election funds? Hillary Clinton. And you people only get one guess to find out how much she was demanding from the money that was taken from the American people. You people, she took $28 million. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Gee, how did that happen? All right. Well, it gets better, folks. Okay. It gets much, much better. All right. Now, after I get through telling you this, you know, don't give me the, well, she was going to try to stop the Trumpster, okay, from doing something bad. Cut it out, all right? She's been tipped up with the Gambino family and the Bonanno family mob most of her life. Does that sound like a benevolent mother, okay, single mom trying to straighten out the world? No, she is a psychopathic, sociopathic monster, okay? Who needs to be in prison learning how to do something honest, like make furniture and or make license plates. Right. So Hillary says, okay, all right. Now, the Democratic Party, they can't think their way out of a paper bag. According to Donna Brazil, it sounds like it, okay? And here's what we need to do. Bankers, okay? Now, bankers, okay, they have problems now. There seems to be somebody named Bernie Sanders, okay? Not Colonel Sanders, Bernie Sanders, who I wanted to vote for, who I know a lot of people wanted to vote for, because what is it about Bernie? He's fairly honest, straightforward, and he doesn't talk a lot of nonsense, okay? Gee, that's what we really need in the presidency, right? Okay, well, Bernie decides, and he's very smart, by the way. Bernie says this country is being ripped asunder, okay, trillions of dollars. As I just saw just a few minutes ago, Ben Bernanke, all right, state, yes, this is the case. Trillions of dollars are not even being held accountable, okay, from the Federal Reserve banking system, okay? And the Solomon Brothers, 2.3 trillion, where have we heard that number before? 2.3 trillion were given to the people that had loans out or had money in the Solomon Brothers brokerage system, okay? So what Bernie is demanding from Ben Bernanke is, okay, what about the $9 trillion that seems to be missing? Yeah, I think everybody's heard of that one now. Well, Ben Bernanke says, oh, well, we loaned that money out. Bernie Sanders says, well, that's not your money. That's the United States citizens of America, their money. Who did you loan it out to? Well, to several banks. Okay, several banks. Okay, well, I want names, okay, and who the points of contact are in each bank to return that money to the American people. Ben Bernanke said, no way, no how, I'm not telling you who those banks are, okay? So, gee, what do the banks tell Hillary Clinton when she is carrying on, which almost nobody can get a copy of the transcripts, okay? What they're saying, and they told Hillary this, is look, all right, we'll make sure that we buy the Democratic Party. Yes, Wall Street owns the Democratic Party now, okay? And what we're going to do is make sure that you become the next president of the United States. Remember what happened, folks? She was slated to be the next president. Unless you've been in a coma for the last 18 months to 2 years, okay, you know about this, all right? And the payback will be, make sure that good, kind, old Bernie Sanders is not made president where he can dismantle the Federal Reserve banking system, cutting off the gravy train, okay, for these big Wall Street bankers, the gravy train. And if you don't think so, if you think they're all just really misunderstood, just look up Goldman Sachs, folks, okay? You want to see you want to see a kinder, gentler banking system? Look up Goldman Sachs, okay? Please do. All right. So what we have here now is a situation where Hillary is going to be the next president of the United States. Uh-oh. I see a real problem with that, okay? Perpetuation of the big business corruption system, okay? Well, we all know what happened. Somehow, some way, somebody got wind of the fact that Hillary Clinton was probably going to have people start disappearing or be Arkansided that didn't go along with it, okay? You know, let's face it, everyone knows what Arkansided is. That's what Hillary specializes in, okay? You get your head cut off, put in the back trunk of your car, the car gets filled with fuel, it gets lit up, okay, and your car gets parked at a busy intersection in the middle of the day. And they call that death by misadventure, okay, folks? That's the one I really love, death by misadventure, okay? That's what happens to people that don't go along with Hillary. And it doesn't matter if they do go along with Hillary, they usually get it too. Just ask Seth Rich, okay?
Right.
All right, so, and he worked for her on her staff. So what happens then is that at the eve when something clearly happened, okay, I mean, there's a lot of politicians that didn't want to end up, you know, in the trunk of their car, okay, when it was burning. And they got together and said, no, we can't let this psychopath, okay, who's being backed up by Wall Street, we can't let her in office, all right? So then what happens? Okay, Seth Rich, of course, is murdered. And then we have John Podesta, who's looking at several indictments now. And Robbie Mook, okay, you want to see what a high opinion Donna Brazil has about Robbie Mook? Well, I can tell you why she has such a what's the word, lugubrious opinion, okay, of Robbie Mook, is John Podesta says, we have to justify this loss. We'll go ahead and blame Russia, okay, since nobody knows about the nuclear deal that she signed to sell Vladimir Putin, okay, 20% of her radioactive isotope resources. Okay, all right, you know, hey, how do you spell treason? Okay, you know, like I said, I'm not the brightest, so I have to ask advice from my listeners, okay, on things like this. Well, I went back and did some checking. Okay, we're plutonium-238, okay, weapons grade, okay, as spun down in cyclotrons from yellow cake uranium. Now, okay, that's pretty rare stuff, pretty deadly stuff, all right? How could this happen? Well, it turns out that Hillary went to Obama, okay, who I will never forgive for selling me out and my trust, okay? I gave him my vote, and of course, after Bush, that's understandable, okay? But here's the deal, folks. He created a false program, and you can go, don't believe me. What do we say, Luca? Don't believe us. Go research yourself. And he said he was going to create a new program for manufacturing, processing plutonium-238 to fuel the space program, okay? NASA, the space program, to make trips to Mars and so forth. God, I got misty-eyed just hearing it. Just, I mean, OMG, okay? And it turns out that no good son of a bitch, okay, was selling out America along with Hillary Clinton, and the 238, yes, it is going to Vladimir Putin, okay, and the Russia, okay, and the former Republic of Kazakhstan, okay, they ran out, and now what Hillary is doing is making sure that Vladimir Putin has his 20% of all U.S. resources to make new bombs, okay? I'm sorry, it's beyond me. Can somebody call in and help me out here? Okay, so, all right, but so what did they do? Robbie Mook, John Podesta, Mr. Pizzagate, Mr. Pedophile, what is it, 2010, whatever, okay, and they get together and say, yeah, okay, the American people are dumb enough to buy it, okay, that Russia might have interfered. Hey, I'll be the first to admit I've actually been in Russia working with Russians, okay, in the intelligence capacity, folks. They're no dummies. They're nobody's idea of a fool. They know their business, all right? They won't tolerate that kind of crap for a second. Only some sociopathic organized criminals think that they could bluff and bulldoze the Russians into taking the fall for something like that. So what we have here now is a fake investigation going on by Robert Mueller, who I have dealt with myself, Robert Mueller, who I informed we were torturing people for a fee. That's okay. That seemed to make things all right, for a fee,
right,
all around the world, okay, and we're still doing it, okay, and then he said, well, I've got a good guy following on named James Comey. Mr. Comey is doing the same thing, and they're all actually covering for Hillary Clinton, okay? That's what we have here, folks. That's why we seem to be really shaky as a country right now. I just gave you the whole deal, okay? So so don't sit there and say, yeah, this guy's full of crap, okay? Because here's the deal, all right? That's what's happening, okay? Guess who owns the Democratic Party? Wall Street, literally, okay? Everybody just sat still while it happened, okay? Why isn't Hillary Clinton in prison? Because, quote, she's got dirt on everybody. Really? That's a good way to run the most powerful country in the world, is by having dirt on everybody, okay? So I'll tell you what, I'll make myself available, okay, to any of the real investigative agencies, not the FBI. They can't even seem to figure out what happened in Las Vegas, okay? When a CIA gun runner supposedly snaps and walks into his hotel room with 24 weapons. By the way, I saw those weapons today, okay? Hey, I spent my whole life around weapons. I know weapons. This guy had access to some serious weaponry, folks, all right? And what are we getting from the FBI? Well, he's a lone wolf gunman. Oh, please, stop, FBI. You know, like I said, the only thing that you can point to in terms of integrity and honesty is the 50 years that you had a cross-dresser running you, okay? So come out of the closet, FBI, knock it off, all right? This guy was supposedly working with the CIA. His girlfriend hasn't even been interviewed yet, who was working for the CIA, all right? Does everybody kind of see something unusual happening here? Everybody forgets the magic 2 words. What are those, Luca? Jade Helm, right? Jade Helm. What am I the only one with a memory around here in the Western United States? Am I the only one with a memory? Okay, Jade Helm. Look it up. Figure out what it is. Guess what? They're synonymous. One and the same. Okay, there we go. The only thing that's stopping from a complete takeover right now, and the chemical spraying, by the way, the chemical chemtrails. And by the way, there was a chemtrail release over Northern California 48 hours ago, all right? It is now raining, one storm after another. And also, there was a chemtrail release over between Ithaca and Albany, New York. Guess what? It's been snowing since they had their chemtrail release there. And there's one in Baltimore, okay, about to start. By the way, I said something about Baltimore the other day as the next point target, okay, for terrorism. Well, that's been called off. It seems that there's people on the internet doing radio shows that are calling it very accurately when these next terrorist attacks are going to start. Gladio Sea, Northwoods, and all that kind of stuff. Hey, well, they stopped the bombing. They were going to blow up a ship in Baltimore Harbor, okay? And so the next issue I have, and I have the great fortune of knowing this person, okay? I'm changing subjects. I'm segueing into another disaster subject, okay? But I'm not going to stop until we stop sending people to make believe fake wars, okay? And they're trying, folks. They're trying to send your loved ones to fake wars, okay? And I want everybody to go over to their computer and look up the word P-TECH, all right? That's P, okay, as in possum, as in post, as in please, okay? And then add the three-letter word tech, P-TECH. It will blow your mind what it is, folks. And then you can do a little asterisk and put 9/11, all right? 9/11, and then you can put, okay, all the securities that had come due on 9/11 and who owned the securities that had come due in the World Trade Center on 9/11. Guess who owned most of those securities, folks? All the corrupt sons of bitches that should be in jail, along with Hillary Clinton, the Bush family, of course, and the mother company. The mother company, as I've always said, runs the CIA, the NSA. They all kiss the mother company's butt, okay? Yes, guess how, billions and billions and billions of dollars in securities that were supposed to come due, as in somebody was supposed to pay for them, okay? Well, here's the deal. Remember those two planes that smashed into the World Trade Center? There were crosshairs on the specific floors where the agencies that were selling those and controlling those bonds were, okay? Each plane hit within 10 feet of the computer center in each building, okay? Gee, does it sound like some wild-eyed crazy was at the helm of either one of those airliners? No, afraid not, folks. Somebody named Izzy, okay, was at the helm remotely guiding both planes into their targets, all right? Care to ask Benjamin Netanyahu? Let's see, Jay Silverstein, okay, who is he? The real estate director of the World Trade Center, all right? Care to ask him? He only made, what, twice the amount of money that he was insured for on those buildings? Larry Silverstein, thank you. Oi, I can't keep those straight, all right? Gosh, okay? And we think Israel is our good friend, okay? I saw the film footage, folks, of Mossad agents on top of the roofs of their vans, jumping for joy when when those buildings were crashing down. They were caught, they were interviewed, and they said, yes, we were filming the attack. Wait. Like I said, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, okay? They were filming the attack. Don't believe me? Go look them up. Mossad agents celebrating the attack on the World Trade Center. Okay, Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, calls Larry Silverstein, what? He was calling him every Sunday? Oi, okay, yeah. They were shucking and jiving and planning the whole thing, the Tracor group. And by the way, I've been finding out who else was involved in the World Trade Center bombing, okay? It wasn't 19 disparate young Arab youths, okay, that were contractors for the agency, by the way. No, afraid not, folks. About 2/3 of the businesses in New York City were either contributing, either consciously or unconsciously to the bringing down of the World Trade Center and initiating the war, the U.S. war on terrorism. We got to fight those terrorists, okay? All right. According to the #1 draft dodger, George W. Bush, we got to fight those terrorists wherever we can find them, okay? So, and then I came up with another name, okay? And this one you're going to love. I hope you people are writing this down, okay? Teneo. Teneo. Never heard of it? Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Teneo. And you know who's part of Teneo? Hillary Clinton. Okay. Teneo is a corporate intelligence agency that nobody's ever heard of. Okay. Well, by the way, they did most of the corporate intelligence on the WTC. Okay. So if you want to find out more about Teneo, give Bill Clinton a call. Okay. I mean, that great humanitarian, I always get misty-eyed when these guys talk about how generous and kind they are, okay? You know, Bill Clinton flew on his personal Learjet down to Haiti. Remember when Haiti was so devastated? To help out, the victims of that earthquake, okay? And who did he take with him? That other great historical monument to humanity and kindness, and kinder and gentler, man, George H.W. Bush, one of the greatest monsters this world has ever seen. Okay, well, Bill let him have the only bed on board their Learjet, okay, on the way down, due to his age. God, I'm getting misty-eyed just telling you folks this, okay? Here's the deal. Prosecute these sons of bitches, all right? Knock it off. Let's knock it off. Hey, I'll put the bracelets on these clowns myself, all right? Knock it off, all right? They should not be running around loose, okay? There's more than enough information to send all these people to prison for the rest of their natural lives. Oh, well, and they might actually learn a skill. Hey, if Pinochet, General Pinochet at 94 could go to prison for the rest of his life, George H.W. Bush and his wheelchair and all, gosh, wheelchair and all. Remember, this is the guy that jumps out of a plane every year to celebrate his birthday, okay? Right. Well, where'd the wheelchair come from, okay? Well, they got to push him out the door in his wheelchair this time around, okay? Well, that's what I have, okay? I actually have a little bit more, but I know I'm running out of time, okay? So
yeah, it goes fast.
Okay, so I want to see some questions, including some questions from Mr. Valiant, okay? Valiant Thor, all right? Boy, I love that response, Luca. And I want to see some action. Spread the word. Any questions? Who should they call? They should call us, okay? Because, hey, fortunately, we don't get our facts crossed up, erroneous, in error. We don't deal with obfuscation, inveigling, and prevarication, okay? Isn't that what they say on the X-Files?
Wow.
All right? So, hey, by all means, put this out, okay? I want to hear from some people that are not Democrats, okay? The Democrats allowed this disaster to happen, okay? I want to hear from some independents. The Republicans don't know what to do with themselves now, okay? Do we even know where our president is at this time? Okay, or is he still dodging a bullet, trying to dodge a bullet? And by the way, I just found out on a closing note that Donald Trump, Jake, we ought to start calling him Jake Trump, okay? Jake Trump, all right, he didn't care. He doesn't care who killed JFK because he knows, okay? It was, okay, the basic hoodlum who brought the whole thing together was LBJ, working with another Texas oil man, okay, by the name of George H.W. Bush, okay? Now, okay, Jake Trump, Donald Trump, doesn't care, all right? And he just views the CIA as having some kind of inconvenience towards having to deal with the files that were supposed to have been released. No, folks, only the tip of the iceberg was released. About 0.005% were released of the files, okay? And they do implicate the CIA entirely and Israel entirely, okay? Oy, oy, okay? They are not the kinder, gentler nation that they love to portray themselves as, okay? And Donald Trump actually doesn't care whether you don't get the information about your president being slaughtered on the streets of Dallas. Okay, they don't care. He doesn't care. I care, all right? Because ever since that time, we have been in a disastrous state of affairs. America has been in a disastrous state of affairs non-stop, all right? And funny thing is, who is the premier investigative agency all along, as they are tonight investigating the Las Vegas shootings? The FBI, okay? Hey, if they all have to start wearing dresses to get efficient again and wearing bright red wigs, okay, and fuchsia lipstick, fine, do it. But knock this stuff off about penetrating, terrorist groups, and they still go ahead and the last 10 major terrorist attacks that I've seen, that I've been tracking, guess what? They had the FBI monitoring them for months and months and months. Right. God, how many hundreds of thousands of people would be alive, okay, if the FBI hadn't been helping and monitoring bad old terrorists? We got to fight those terrorists, okay? All right. So there we have it. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little carried away for our listeners, but things have become so obtrusive, okay, with our government that no one in their right mind should have trust in what our government says. That's why we can't get a straight answer out of Las Vegas, okay? I'll tell you what, the internet must be driving, the government nuts, okay? With, Joe Lieberman, what's the first thing he says? He's not talking about fighting terrorists. Joe Lieberman wants to shut the internet down when they want to shut it down, so they don't have to answer any embarrassing questions. Okay, John McCain, he's the same way. Don't want to answer any embarrassing questions. So let's keep the internet going better than ever, folks, and let's get some questions in, and let's look forward to straightening our government out. All right? Yeah. You people, everyone here, is the American government. You are the American government. Forget what a bunch of slickster politicians are going to tell you. Forget it. You're the government, all right? And these people are going to start, the government officials are going to start obeying their own laws.
Sounds good to me.
I have to say.
Well, Greg, it's been a slice, as it always has been, as it always is, every time. And I'm going to finish on this note. I'm going to share screens with you real quick. I have to share this one. The people will not revolt. They will not look up from the screens long enough to notice what's happening. From 1984, written by George Orwell in 1949. Something to think about as we close this session until next time. Thank you so much, Greg, for everything and for trying to wake everybody up. And it's been one heck of a half hour, as usual. Thanks again.
Well, it's a full-time job, Luca, but hey, thank you. Greatly appreciated, as always. And thank you to our listeners, all right? No Republicans, no Democrats. There's Americans out there. Americans, all right? That's it.
You have Democrat and you have Republican. They're the same wings of the same damn bird. So it doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's too embarrassing to explain the differences.
Right. I don't think it ever did mean anything anyway. Well,
hey, remember, folks, Jesse Ventura, independent candidate. All right.
There you go.
All right. And anybody that doesn't think he has the spine, the guts, the balls to call it the way he thinks it should be done, you better think again. You better check things out before you make a fool out of yourself and say he doesn't have it. All right. There it is. He's the next president of the United States.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too. Good night, Luca.